I didn't feel hurt, I felt slowly replaced. That sentence isn't about a single loud betrayal. It's about mornings when your partner no longer notices the small things about you. It's about a home where someone else's priorities have nudged you off center so gradually you barely felt the shove. That quiet displacement is its own kind of loss, and it deserves to be named. Imagine a stone at the top of a hill. A healthy relationship is like that stone. It rolls forward on its own weight, carried by gravity and momentum. You can stand next to it and trust it will move. But if you find yourself pushing that stone day after day, that's a signal. When you must supply the force, the motion is not natural anymore. Love should move toward you without you having to become its engine. If this resonates, type replaced in the comments. You're not alone. There are signs that a relationship is eroding in this slow, quiet way. Notice whether any of these are familiar. You have to schedule affection as if it were a chore. Your invitations to spend time together are met with excuses or silence. You notice them more in social media photos than in your living room. Attempts to be close, sex, late-night talks, little weekend plans, feel like unilateral projects you're somehow obligated to manage. Small observations matter. They stop asking about your day. They miss details they used to remember. They go out late and don't tell you where they are. None of these is a dramatic betrayal on its own, but together they add up to being edged out of your shared life. These patterns produce a particular kind of pain because it's diffuse. It's different from anger that flashes after an argument. This is the slow fade, the accumulation of tiny indifferences that eventually make you feel like a guest in your own relationship. You begin to doubt your perception. You tell yourself it's nothing, or that you're overly sensitive. You tell yourself you can fix it, that love will make them turn around. These are common stories we tell ourselves because change is scary. Let's be clear, wanting things to be better is not the same as being able to force change. Real change, the kind that sticks, grows from inside a person. You can invite it, you can model it, you can ask for it. But you cannot carry someone else's transformation the way you carry groceries. If you find yourself doing almost all of the emotional labor, initiating conversations, planning time together, reintroducing intimacy, forgiving repeated patterns, you are shouldering more than one person's share of a partnership. So what do you do when the stone won't move on its own? Start with 3 concrete steps that give you clarity without escalating blame. First, observe with intention. This is not spying. It's paying attention to facts, not stories. Notice patterns over time. Which nights they disappear, how they respond when you speak about your feelings, whether their actions match their words. Look for details you used to notice about them. The way they laugh, the micro-expressions when they're distracted, the small routines that used to include you. Write a few examples down. Having tangible instances helps when your emotions swirl and you need to make a case to yourself or to your partner. Second, name the pattern and invite a real conversation. Choose 1 or 2 specific behaviors from your notes and speak from your experience, not as an accusation. Try a phrasing like, "I've noticed you go out late 3 times this week, and I feel excluded when plans change without a heads up. Can we talk about what's been happening?" Or, "When I plan time for us and it keeps getting canceled, I start to feel like I don't matter. Is there something going on for you?" Keep it brief. Avoid cataloging every grievance in one sitting. Your aim is to see if they recognize the pattern and are willing to engage in change, not to win an argument. Third, set a boundary and a simple timeline for review. Boundaries are not ultimatums dressed as threats. They are statements of what you need to feel respected. It can be as practical as, "I need us to agree on 2 evenings a week that are for us unless there's an emergency," or, "If plans change, I need a message letting me know." Decide what feels reasonable and how long you'll give it to see if things shift. 2 to 6 weeks is often enough to test intent. If the behavior continues and your requests are met with indifference or deflection, that pattern has a meaning. Your needs are not being prioritized. While you do this work, watch for the partner's response style more than their perfect reaction. Are they defensive and shutting down? Do they apologize briefly and then revert to the same habits? Do they ask clarifying questions and offer specific changes? Willingness looks like follow-through, not just words. Remember, you're not proving who's right. You're gauging whether the partnership still functions as a mutual project. There are common traps that keep people stuck. One is the idea that leaving would cause more pain than staying, so you choose the smaller daily pain. Another is the belief that your persistence will eventually fix the other person. Both are understandable, but risky. Staying out of fear of pain does not guarantee less pain down the road. It often guarantees more of the same pattern. And loving someone is not a license to become their constant fixer. If your presence is only meaningful when you are doing the emotional lifting, the relationship has slipped into a service dynamic rather than a reciprocal one. How do you decide whether to keep working or to leave? Use the stone rule. If the stone requires you to push it consistently and your partner won't help, you're trading your energy for a movement that fails to become mutual.
If, after honest conversation and reasonable boundaries, the other person shows no sustained change and no willingness to participate in repair, stepping away is a dignified choice. Leaving is not a failure, it's an assertion of your worth and the understanding that a healthy relationship is a shared effort. I want to be careful here. This is not a call to punish or to dramatize separation. It's a call to clarity. Letting go can be quiet and careful. It can be a choice made in order to preserve your emotional health, not to exact revenge. And repairing a relationship can be beautiful, but it requires both people to show up. If you're sitting with this right now, give yourself one small practical task today. Take 5 minutes and write down 2 specific moments from the past month when you felt unseen. Use those as the anchors for your conversation. Then decide on one boundary that would change how you feel if it were honored. Test that boundary for a month and observe what happens. You deserve a relationship that moves toward you without constant coercion. You deserve to be noticed, remembered, and prioritized in ways that feel natural and mutual. If the stone rolls when you set it down, you don't need to be its engine anymore. If this touched you, consider subscribing for more on setting boundaries and on how to rebuild, whether together or alone. And if you felt this slow replacement yourself, share "replaced" in the comments. Others need to know they're not alone.